The views expressed on this special broadcast of the Take 12 radio show do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting or its affiliates. KHLT is not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship.
Welcome, family, those of you in recovery, those of you who should be, and all you advocates and the like. Welcome to Take12Radio.com. That, by the way, our theme song for our editorials this year is Chuck Alvarez, and the song is The Balder I Go. And you know what I'm saying, right? Right there. The Balder I Go. Hey, listen, check this out. This is our first attempt at these editorials for this year, and I hope you enjoy them. You may disagree, you may agree, you may be somewhere in the middle. I encourage you to email us here at take12radio@comcast.net with your opinions, with your comments, whatever you'd like to say. Hey, listen, I want to tell you about this particular DVD set that we have. This is an audio DVD called Walking Through the Big Book. Now, we are pretty much listener supported. We have a couple of sponsorship grants, but this is how we keep the show on the air. Nobody gets paid here. It's all volunteer. And for your donation of $25, we want to send you Walking Through the Big Book, a comprehensive workshop with Chris Schroeder, one of the foremost sought-after circuit speakers of 12-step recovery in the nation. In fact, they did a survey on who was the most downloaded speaker in the country when it came to 12-step support and 12-step recovery, and Chris Schroeder was number 2 out of thousands. And there's something to be said about that. Well, he joins us here with Walking Through the Big Book, and we're also doing a series right now called Walking Through the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, and that DVD will be available to you as well coming up. But this thing, if you'll go to our website at take12radio.com, and just click on the banner link that says order Walking Through the Big Book. It'll tell you how you can get that thing. $25 donation, 34 one-hour workshops, perfect for sponsorship, perfect for seminars, perfect for treatment centers and the like. I think you're really going to get a kick out of that. Well worth the money. All right. Today's editorial, or this week's editorial, is going to be, are there rules in meetings, in 12-step support meetings? And the other day, I was in a 12-step meeting that was one of those that stood out in my mind well after it was over. And the topic was, are there rules on how to act in meetings? Well, that's a good question. And my first reaction in my mind was, of course not. That came almost automatically because of what I've been taught in the past in 12-step support meetings. But as I sat through the meeting and I heard some fine shares on the topic, I realized that, in fact, there are rules, well, at least unspoken ones. And I looked up in the dictionary when I got home the definition of the word rules. And as it would happen, there are several. But the one I was drawn to read, a usual, customary, or generalized course of any gathering of people and their conduct. And I think if one were to go by this definition, I would have to say, yes, there are rules of conduct in any gathering of people. Now, some would say the only requirement for membership in most 12-step meetings is a desire to stop doing whatever one is doing that is causing them pain, such as drinking or using narcotics or binging or overspending, whatever it may be. And though that is true, let us not confuse membership with meeting attendance. For example, if a person came into a meeting naked, they would probably be asked to leave and come back clothed. I would hope so. If an individual were to come in waving a weapon and threatening bodily harm to the group, they would be guided towards the door. If someone sat down in a meeting, for example, AA or NA or CA, with an illegal drug and began using it in front of the rest of the group, he or she might be asked to what? To remove the substance from the premises in order to help make the meeting a safe place for everyone else. I think you get the picture. If you and I think for a minute that there are not rules in life, we deceive ourselves. But what about the man or woman who comes into a meeting and spills their guts all over the place? What about them? Are there rules for them? Sharing the mess instead of the message is something that is common in 12-step support groups. And so what then? Do we chastise them? Do we correct them or make them feel unwanted? Some do. And yet we teach in our recovery literature to be encouraging and uplifting. And love and tolerance is our code, don't you know? Now, personally, I have to remember that I am not exalted above anyone. I believe that we need to let people be who they are. Character defects, shortcomings, and the whole ball of wax. Well, some of you might say, when I came into the meetings, I was told to shut up and sit down, take the cotton out of my ears, shove it in my mouth. I had nothing to say. To which I would say, oh, really? And just who told you that? I would bet that a large percentage of folks that claim they were told to shut up and sit down are parroting what someone else has said. We do so much of that in meetings and life, for that matter. I believe that in the first 164 pages of the wonderful book entitled Alcoholics Anonymous, which is, I reflected to that as the mothership of 12-step programs, that there is nowhere where that mentality is being taught. In fact, I've read my fair share of 12-step literature over the last 25 years in recovery, and it's nowhere to be found in any material I've read. And yet it seems to be that the folks that feel they are to dictate meetings are the same ones who spout, if it's not in the big book, throw it out. When fellow participants in meetings share something we don't like, it's usually because it makes us feel uncomfortable. And what have we learned about our feelings? Of course, if someone is doing something illegal or perverse, the issue should be addressed, but by an elder statesman, not a bleeding deacon. We all need to study the second tradition, which reads, for our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God as he may express himself. In our group conscience, our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. So what is our group's purpose? To carry the message of hope and recovery to the addict or alcoholic or whatever who still suffer, and because we are human, we find it extremely important to invite God into our meetings to guide us in the spiritual direction of carrying out our group's purpose. The second part of this tradition is a reminder that we are trusted servants, not dictators. When we insist on governing, we take the meeting hostage, and any effectiveness that would come as a result of carrying out our primary purpose is squashed. When we hear something that makes us feel uncomfortable in meetings, church, or even with our own families, give us the strength, God, to restrain our tongues from publicly correcting another, thus embarrassing them needlessly. Oh, man. We do not know the depths of another person's pain. It is therefore our desire to allow you, God, to work through us to carry the message to those who still suffer. And I hope we are always reminded every day from whence we came, that we are to be trusted servants, and that God is the ultimate authority. Well, there you go. That's my thought on the whole 9 yards. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please forward it to somebody. Please let them know. And please visit our main website at take12radio.com on your internet dial. Recovery talk and positive music. Until our next meditorial, this is the Monty Man, and I'm wishing God's perfect serenity for you. Bye-bye.
This has been a broadcast of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.